Welcome back.
Okay, there we go. Once again, I apologize for all the technical difficulties. We will get started shortly.
Okay, yeah, just let us know when to start and we'll get going.
Take it away, Scott, whenever you're ready.
Okay, yeah, so my name's Scott. I'm one of the co-founders of Owners Unity. My background history, for the past 9 years, I've run a business consultancy dealing in the energy sector, mainly helping companies look for renewables, ways to reduce their emissions, etc. I've worked in business for a long time, B2B mainly, and that's pretty much that angle for me. I've got a lot of contacts in the field. I worked for a project management system in the construction industry before that, working on large projects around the globe. So that's pretty much my background.
Do you want to introduce any other members of the team?
Yep, Sal.
Yep. Hey guys, I'm Sal. I'm one of the co-founders in this project. Background on me, bit techie, dev on one side, currently working on, or one of the devs currently working on the website and the programming side of things. But the coding side is more towards the other dev who actually isn't here at the moment. But if there is any questions towards that department, shoot it away. I've had a chat with him. I should know most of the 99.99% of the details.
Paul.
Anybody else from the team want to talk?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys. I briefly spoke before. So my name's Paul Somerville. As I said, I've known Scott for around 12 years now. My background is events, marketing, social media management. Scott has got me on board because not only do I have a good background of social media, but also have a huge influencer network where we can produce campaigns of a reach of tens of millions per week, which will all be sort of pumped into this campaign to give huge both mainstream and sort of crypto awareness of this project once we go live.
My name's Harvey. I'm the old one in the group. My background is mathematics. I've been taught at uni, secondary school, 23 years. Before that, I was in advertising. I own several businesses in retail in the catering field. Now I'm on the verge of retiring, so I'm putting all my effort into this. And as you can imagine, I deal with figures. And that's basically my background.
Okay, perfect. So now what we want to do now is Scott, can you tell us what this project is all about?
Yeah, of course. I think we all know the situation with the housing shortages, the increasing gaps of wealth inequality, the inability for people to actually just even have a decent standard of home, let alone living. It's an issue that's been on my mind for a while. And it was a case of crypto opening doors to the possibilities of making the changes. So firstly, we looked at what the issues were and how we could go about addressing as many of them as possible in as fair a way as possible. We appreciate that the people that we would like to help us build this need to make money. but it's greed that runs everything at the moment, and this whole project is built around trying to re-educate people away from greed and to show them that we can actually achieve more when we work together. The project has many facets that all intertwine together, and the overall combined effect of the project is to alleviate homelessness, to raise people from poverty, to increase their basic standard of living, and to help reduce the carbon emissions and move us towards carbon neutral homes. That's the three main goals of the project.
Okay, very good. Now, can you describe how the tokenomics and all that stuff works?
Yes.
All right. Currently, we've got a structure of 10 billion tokens. So 10 billion tokens. 40% will be sold via pre-sales. 10% will be added as liquidity in the current process. That's with the calculations based on what we can do with the current calculations that we've done. 10% to marketing, investment burnt 15%, and there will be a staking platform. I think there was 14% tokens there as well.
Okay.
There's a buy and fee structure as well. So reflections.
There's also a secondary tokenomics from the real world application of this that gets returned
to the investors.
To the investors. Do you want to go through that, Sal?
Well, at the moment, we've got a reward system in place that will bring into play as soon as we've started the real world application. The reward system there will benefit, like, literally the holders of the token as well as the real world potential. So the rewards go out to multiple, like the rewards receivable just from holding this coin. There's multiple avenues or multiple lanes that you will receive BUSD rewards from, or rewards from.
And we're not trying to do anything that's revolutionary. All we're doing is impacting on how companies should redistribute the wealth. You guys, and I'm sure you're aware of this, most people have their cryptocurrency, and then if they start a company, they keep the two separate. So whatever profit, although you receive benefits from the price movement of the token, you don't really get any benefits from your investment for the actual real world tech that's been developed in a lot of cases. What we're doing is we are combining the two and saying you guys are the shareholders, because it's structured around the monies that you have put in. So rather than separate the two, we've worked a system that actually then gives you rewards back through the profits that the real world company too makes too. So you've then actually got both sets of profit coming back to you.
Okay, so who benefits the most out of this? Like, okay, if I were, say, put one BNB at launch, how does that all work?
What, do you want to take that, Sal?
Sorry, bud. Could you repeat that again? Honestly, just missed out what you said.
Okay, so I'm wondering about. Okay, so personally, I'd like to know more about how you guys are doing all this stuff. Now, are you guys building houses, or are you negotiating?
We're not starting by building houses. What we're doing, first of all, is It's a cross between a straightforward rental and a mortgage, except we're not technically lending any money. So the way that it works in the real world, I've been in touch with the FCA as well, which is the organisation in the UK that regulates the housing market. I've spoken to them. I've had a lengthy conversation with them. They're okay with what we've proposed. And we've also been put in touch with the FCA Innovation Hub because they've never come across a system like ours. So we've run this by the official government organisation that regulates in the UK, because obviously that's the market that I know. So I started there first. It's really a very simple approach, and I'll tell you as much as I can, but I can't tell you everything. We don't do anything that isn't normally already happening in the market. All we do is change the way that it's redistributed, and the mechanism that we use, we can't go into too great a detail at this early stage, which hopefully you will understand. But what we do is we follow the regulations, we get clients in, and then basically once we get the client in, they make their payments, which go against the property. So you're always reducing, obviously, the cost. But then we do something, we invest the money, is the easiest way to put it, with a specific mechanism that then generates additional money, just like a bank would with a mortgage, or the construction companies would. They take the money, they then invest it, and then with the profit they give to the shareholders. All we're doing is doing the same thing technically, and then returning the monies to you. So with your token, so you've put one BNB in, sorry, then you've got your tokens, and then you will receive a portion. If you stake them as well, you will receive the returns just for holding the token in as part of the original tokenomics. If you stake, you will then also receive the staking rewards, the API benefits. Then on top of that, with regards to the real world application, you will receive additional BUSD. You will receive additional rewards for staking in accordance with that. And we also have taken into account that not everyone will stake. So a percentage of the tokenomics is also there to return some of the revenue for them. So everyone gets a share of the profit. Literally all we're doing, and I try to keep it as simple as possible, because people tend to overthink this, and it really isn't that technical. All we're doing is redistributing the money that would be held by the bankers and then redistributed to their shareholders as dividends, and we're giving that back to you. The rest of the whole process is already being used globally. All we're doing is, as I said, making a couple of tweaks and just redistributing it, and hopefully making a change from inside the system. It really is as simple as that. There's no need to overcomplicate it.
Would you say that you are basically cutting the bank out as a middleman and just going straight to the consumer and the people that build the house?
That's the whole idea of DeFi, isn't it? To cut the bankers out. If you guys invest in the token, we're not building houses straight away. We have to be clear about this. That's the long-term goal. It's a lot easier at this stage and cost-effective. We can offer to buy out people's mortgages. We can offer to purchase the properties for them. And then once they're in, we have an agreement with them as a standard agreement with a couple of tweaks, which I can't go into because, yet again, that's obviously part of the secret behind it. But with the tweaks that we've made, we can move them in. We don't have to charge them interest. Interest yet again is just a way of taking money from people. So there's zero interest. If your home is $100,000, then the payback is $100,000. It's as simple as that. And then obviously with the mechanics that we use, we then bring that value down, and then at the end of the period, or as soon as the target is met, the target that we set is met, then they get the home. It's as simple as that.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I know there's a lot that you can't really go into because you don't want to let the cat out of the bag. Is there anything else you can talk about before we open up the questions?
Yeah, considering where we are, we've managed to form a lot of partnerships. A couple that will come a bit further down the line, but we've already got one partnership that's absolutely agreed. That's with Greedy Gramps, which is an NFT project. They will be producing 2 NFTs for us. The first NFT is for our early adopters. The NFTs do have utility in the real world, so you get benefits of discounted hotel rooms, concerts, the normal stuff that you would get with an NFT. And then the second NFT is for when we are for the homes. And that home, the NFT, we are trying, and we're in the middle of having an electronic deed tied to the home. So the NFT is actually the deed. It's an electronic deed. And we're also looking to tie the portfolio that comes with the home to the NFT too. And on top of that, we're looking to add functionality to the NFT. There's lots of other things. The NFT will basically be a one-stop shop for all access to the home. If you're going to do a virtual reality tour, if they're looking to sell on, we're looking at other aspects of if you're doing redesign or redecorating, doing it all online, just one click of a button. The blockchain takes care of the payment, then you get the materials, the craftsman, everything delivered at once. That's part of the functionality of what we're looking to do with the NFT. So I'm quite happy to divulge that information. It's just the financial aspect of it. We can't go too far into the mechanics, but like I said, it's just a redistribution of wealth, not being greedy.
That's good though. From what little I've heard about the project, it sounds very exciting. I mean, you're basically giving the housing market, the real estate market back to the consumer, back, where we can control our destiny. I like that. I like that a lot.
Thanks. And you should own it. It's your money. You work hard for it. They're just greedy. And it's literally just a case. If we can make a small incision and climb through, they'll be forced to change the way they do it. They will fight because they don't want change. They make billions of pounds a year, but that's because we're educated to accept the life we have. Work hard. If you're lucky, you'll own your own home after paying for it for 35 years. And we all know that they put an additional profit margin in the home. That's how they make their money. All we're doing is we're going to use a different area to make additional funds and then redistribute those funds.
You're bringing blockchain to the real estate industry. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's the plans. The plans go a lot further than that. The end game, and hopefully some of the people we'll be talking to shortly, with helps from. We've had so much brilliant help. Like EJ. I hope he doesn't mind me saying so. Absolutely brilliant. It's a blessing to have met a lot of guys already. But the end game is carbon neutral homes, carbon neutral smart homes that are run on blockchain technology, from the security of entering your home to the dimming of your lights to checking the ampage on your appliances to make sure they're not burning too much energy, adjusting your VO, have it on a closed system so all of the energy is produced by biomass, solar, wind, water, if you're near a water source that you can do that. And then obviously you hook up to the grid, but not to draw down any of their energy. It's just to send the returns back, your excess energy, and then the profit you make from the excess energy is then distributed to the homeowner, so they have even more money. And by tying the portfolio to the home, they can't sell the portfolio and then leave the next person that moves in with just a nice NFT. That the home will always provide security, and that's how it should be. So if you're injured at work, or you just have a bad time like the pandemic, if your property is then taking care of you, you don't have to worry so much, and no one should have to worry. Everyone has a right to a decent standard of living, and it's possible.
I agree. And this, I can see this where this leads to us living like we are in Star Trek or something like that. Anything else? I think it's a good time to open this up to the questions from anybody in the chat that has any questions. So if you want to ask a question to Scott, go ahead and unmute, because there's not very many of us here. So anybody got any questions, unless you have something to say, Scott, something more to say? Anybody from the team?
I think Lumber Guy just unmuted.
I did. Hey,
Go
guys.
ahead.
Hey,
Hi.
so I do real estate investing professionally as my full-time job, crypto part-time. And is the goal to kind of build up a portfolio and to kind of have that be the funds, like, American dream, at least around here, is that you build up a portfolio of homes that builds residual income? Is that kind of the goal for the token? And then to kind of redistribute that back to the token holders?
That's part of it, but there's more security than that, because obviously if you just have it on the portfolio, if there is a black swan event, or some other issue arises, you could lose your portfolio, and then the token holders or the people, our community, would then suffer. The people in the homes would lose their homes, they'd suffer. Yet again, I can't go into too much detail, but I can tell you that it's partly that, but it's partly also the mechanics. We've built in a few security protocols. So, for instance, worst case scenario, say everything went horribly wrong, and everyone withdrew all of their money at the same time. It still wouldn't impact on the clients. The clients would still have their home. They would keep their home, and they would still, because everything always returns to normal at some point, they would still then have the ability to draw down an income. And on the back end of that, the beauty of this as well is the back end is when, say for instance, there's something happens with the liquidity pool. There's an exploit of the liquidity pool, for instance. Just say something like that. Because we have also the separation between the property. So you've got your stock, you've got your property stock that still holds value, because the tokenomics of that stock and the investment in that stock is still returning money to your tokens. Even if there's a drop in the price of your token, it will never be valueless, because as long as you hold that token, you will be receiving your share of the rewards, of the profits from the real world organization. So there's security on both ends for both sides of this equation.
That makes sense. So I guess the other thing I was going to ask was like, I don't know how things work in the UK, but in America, for me and the way I do real estate investments, it's very complicated. Whether it's going through the title searches and all that stuff, and the multiple hundreds of pages of paperwork and all that. When you're talking about the NFTs, you're talking about maybe consolidating all of those things into a NFT, whether it's the deed to the house and all that. Is that what you were talking about with that?
Yes, all of the documents that are required to prove ownership of a property, and it will be different in just about every country in the world. But because we're not doing anything outside of what's legal anyway, what the current regulations are, it shouldn't be an issue. As Dean's not here, unfortunately, what our main coder. But like he always says, if you can code it, you can do it.
Gotcha. All right, cool. I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody who has any more questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask Scott or one of the team members any questions. Okay, I have a basic question. When are you planning on launching and the pre-sale and all that information? Can somebody tell us about that?
Yeah, it's Sal will take over in a minute. He'll finish off what I'm saying. But the pre-sale, we're looking to actually give rewards for vesting for the vested tokens as well. So that's the slight hiccup, is just working out the mechanics. We've all been involved in pre-launches and seed rounds where you get your tokens, they get vested, and then the people that buy at public put them in staking, and you can't receive the benefits and rewards that you deserve for actually supporting the business at an early stage. So we're looking how we're going to do that. So that's one of the hold up aspects. We were hoping to start pre-sale by the end of this month, but that's looking unlikely. I think Paul would like a bit longer for his marketing campaign as well. And then there's we're in touch with launch pads as well. So it's trying to fit everything in and do what's best for the business. And we've also got to talk to one of the guys on here just with regards to clarification of a couple of things to make sure that we're in a position to do what's best for us and for you if you invest in us, and give us all the long-term security to know that this company will stay where it is and it will build and go on to hopefully make the changes that the world deserves.
Okay,
Sal?
So we're looking at least a month, right? So before we even have a pre-sale, or you said April.
Approximately, yeah. Approximately on that point, we might be about a month away. Just
okay.
In order just to sort out those things, those core elements that we're going to have to need anyway. Because I'm a believer, and I think we all are, of making sure a project is like technically fine, like 100%. You don't want to be having any kind of errors in the long run. Anything that will potentially put the clients or the holders' money in any danger, both in the real life aspect as well and in the crypto space. So making sure things that are 100% down pat before we put it out there and say, all right, guys, let's go. Pre-sale starting in 2 weeks, or I'm making sure of it before we go out there.
Yeah, just on the back of that, sorry, we will be having our liquidity pool locked by a third party. The smart contract will be locked by a third party, and as anyone that's been on our Telegram will tell you, we will be community driven. I like the term a democratic community token. So any decisions that are made, we started the concept, but it belongs to everyone involved. So no decision will be made at any point without a community vote. And by putting them in a third party, the security of that obviously assurances that we're doing things the right way, and knowing that to access anything needs a vote, you guys know that you will be involved every step of the way with every decision.
Okay, that sounds very nice. Now, so like we're looking at a month away, and then I'm sure it's a matter of you guys picking out a launch pad. There's pink sale as well, because that's what a lot of projects do. They go through pink sale, but there's obviously others that you can use. So I would say like around April is when you guys are planning on launching, and then after that, to the moon or whatever, whatever happens.
Yeah, no, we're looking at a couple of strategies. Slow and steady is always good. There is a possibility that the timeline will stretch, but realistically, if we do it correctly and things go well, we should have people in properties within 3 months. That is an achievable goal. I'm not saying it will happen 100%, but if things go well, we should have people in properties utilising our product within 3 months. At the outside, I would say 6 to 9 months. But we're building a whole ecosystem. The mechanism isn't just as straightforward as the property side returning monies. We're doing a lot more with regards to the crypto side, and there's other applications of this in the real world, and everything that we do will be channeled through this tokenomic system and the mechanism we have in place. So the more avenues we have for revenue mean greater rewards for you guys. But the beauty of it is that whilst we're all doing what we want to do, which is improve our living situation, we'll be helping everyone else by giving them the opportunity to get on the ladder. And we're going to build affordable housing, as you can see from the tokenomics. But the end goal is to get rid of the term affordable housing, because that's frankly an offensive term. All homes should be affordable. And I don't mean everyone should be able to live in a mansion. I mean everyone has the right to live in a home with running water, hot and cold running water, and inside lavatory. Some people still don't have that, heating, and just the basics, just a basic standard of living. And if you give people that, then it raises them up. And by raising them up, it just empowers people. And when you empower people, you get better results, and society does better as a whole.
Okay, so you're saying within 3 months, the hope is to have people in houses, and how is that? Does that some of that money come to us from from hearing it correctly from what you're talking about earlier?
Yes, as soon as we have people in homes, then the whole mechanism kicks in, and the returns will start happening within the first month of them being in the homes.
So it always makes sense.
Sorry?
It makes sense if someone buying a house, if someone was in the home, that they would own the token as well, because they're making money off their being in the home, basically.
No, I agree. But what we're also trying to do, another aspect of it is a lot of normal. My phraseology might be wrong and my terminology might be wrong, but a lot of people outside of the crypto ecosystem are fearful of crypto because all they hear is basically bad propaganda. So what we're trying to do is to introduce them to it gently by giving them the access and then showing them that it actually works for them and that this is why it was invented. It does good things. And then hopefully that will increase the adoption amongst them, because they will think, yeah, I'm going to hold the token to get more money. And then hopefully word of mouth is just as good to advertise and to bring people on board. And once a project like this, if we can get this right and get this working, this project will cross over from being a crypto real world hybrid to being just how businesses operate moving forward, hopefully, because that's why crypto was invented. It was invented to make improvements. And if we can get to that stage, the utilization in all other areas of real world is there. It's just people don't see it as clearly because of all of the barriers and obstacles that are put in place. So if we start with an easy area where you can do this without having to challenge the status quo with regards to making them write new legislation. So you do it surreptitiously. You go in, you get people in using their rules and their regulations, and then by the time they realise that something's up, it's too late because it's been adopted and everyone's used to it as the norm.
This is the kind of world I want to live in. That's what I'm saying. This is it right now. I mean, basically, it's a utopia for people that from the system that we have now, which is seems unfair, but I like it.
Thank you. I think we can get there with the support of the people that we've had that are listening in right now, and that we've had. It's been amazing.
Okay, now we're just looking for more questions. If anybody has any questions, please unmute and then ask away.
I think just touching on what Scott said, I think the impact that crypto's had in the world, its very nature has been about that sort of the change of where everything is done, and I think that's what Owners Unity speaks to. Completely changing another part of the world that the world takes for granted in terms of how setting the way that it is. So yeah, I think it's change is coming.
Okay. Any other comments from the team or any questions?
Hey guys.
Hi.
Go ahead.
First, I just wanted to say, I really think that the whole concept of this project, it's a really beautiful idea, and I really respect what you guys are trying to build. My question is, in terms of marketing, like I know the community is going to step up and do what they can to get the word out, but what kinds of ideas does the team have in terms of marketing?
There you go, Paul.
One for me. Yeah, sure. So obviously we will be doing all of the sort of the bread and butter of marketing. We use really sophisticated like Facebook Messenger bots where we can gather data, thousands of emails, mobile numbers per minute of people who express interest to the brand. We'll then communicate with them through Messenger, which has like a much higher open rate compared to email or what have you. Obviously, the airdrops coming soon once we get live with the smart contract, etc. We've also got, I don't know how much I can speak about it, but we've got a huge conference that we're organizing in Dubai, and we're actually utilizing a huge influencer network that I have. A hybrid of both sort of mainstream influencers and crypto influencers, journalists earning a huge amount of earned media and getting tens of millions of impressions for that sort of week launch period, in which we'll be running like almost like an election night style advert the entire week, with motion graphics running through the full presentation of the project, potential earnings for investors, and really sort of painting that vision for a new future with Owners Unity of what we can produce, all live streamed via TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, and everything you can imagine will be throwing the kitchen sink at it, building up to that sort of climax of the pre-sale and public launch.
Awesome.
Okay,
That
any other
sounds
questions?
great.
Follow up on that?
Yeah, the marketing, there's so much can be done. It could be a never-ending story in terms of things we'll be able to do once we get in a position to go live, you know. But happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any more questions? You have a question, unmute and go ahead and ask away.
I got one more question for you.
Okay.
Are there any talks of maybe partnering with any other affordable housing projects, like the Global Housing Foundation or Habitat for Humanity or something?
We will be looking to form relationships with every organisation that has the same ethos as us. So whilst at the moment we're forming closer relationships to get us to the point where once we're established and people see the product working, that will then give us the platform to go to the larger organizations and say, you know, this can be done, let's do this. But at the moment we're looking at other organizations within the crypto, other green organizations, other renewable energy organizations and such like. But and it's not even our decision. Every decision that is made, if you mention that as a stakeholder, it will go to a vote, and if it's a yes vote, what you have proposed will then be acted upon. It's literally all we're doing is trying to get the concept out there and get people on board, and then it belongs to everyone. So it will go wherever you guys want it to go.
Beautiful. Thanks, Scott.
No worries.
Okay, more questions? The last opportunity.
Is there anything I've missed? Is you know, as we go along, I just want to say, as we go along, we can reveal more, and then you know, hopefully, it will become clearer.
Yeah, we expect that. I'm sure there's a lot you can't really talk about because you know, the mechanisms of how you guys do it is going to be very complicated, number one, and then number two, there's some things that maybe haven't been settled down yet. So if there's no other questions, one thing we'd like is if you to post all your information on our chat, where they can find more information about you, your website, also your Telegram link. And any last words that you may have?
Well, from my perspective, I'd just like to thank you for inviting us over, and hopefully you guys will come along on the ride with us and see where we're going, and help us by inputting your ideas and helping us grow and move in the right direction, and you know, make a change in the real world. We're not a meme coin, you know, we are a project that is trying to do something that will benefit us all in the long run, because it will help our children and our grandchildren. If we get something like this right, and we break down the current global financial order, if we can make the difference and do that, our kids and our grandkids won't have to struggle, because they'll just have opportunities that you know, we never saw.
Love the passion, Scott. Thank you so much for coming. You can check him out. He'll post the information below. And I just want to thank you guys once again. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will have more AMAs in the future. Just keep track of us on our chat. And with that, thank you guys once again. We're going to end the chat right now.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thanks so much for having us.